Welcome to our latest pop culture pastors hour, at least as we are calling it. My name is Edward Goode, and I am pastor of church in Cincinnati and photographer and writer at magoscriptura.com, and been doing these for a few months with MaryAnn, who I'm going to hand it over to introduce herself.
Yes. So, hi everyone. MaryAnn here. I write at the Blue Room on Substack, and I'm a pastor in Herndon, Virginia, and also a ministry coach and a writer. And yeah, we finally have a date for my next book that's coming out in April 14th. So we have a publication date, which is very exciting. So, and we are so thrilled to have a mutual friend of ours with us, Troy Bronsink, who, tell us a little about yourself and where you write, because you're also a Substacker. And
Yeah.
just what brings you?
Substack, you can find
A
me
little about
just at,
yourself and where you write.
there's a lag here. Did you hear that?
There is. Yeah. Here we go.
At Troy Bronsink. And I'm a coach and facilitator. I founded The Hive 10 years ago, which is a center for contemplation, art, and action here in Cincinnati and online. Still really engaged there, but have stepped back to founder emeritus, which I think's a made up word for not the director anymore. And a lot of my work is around mediation, facilitating, holding groups for change that sometimes is in business spaces, often also with congregations and nonprofits. And these are some of my dear friends. I'm really happy to be in the mix with y'all. This will be a fun conversation.
And this is a good topic for you to join on because Troy is a musician as well, and
Yeah, you can see my music on Bandcamp, and my daughter's a musician. We've collaborated on some stuff. It'll be fun to talk music.
Yeah, awesome, it's great.
So we are talking music today. We don't have like a specific movie or show like we've done with past ones. We're just talking about kind of our experiences with music, and we've got some questions we'll kick around as we go. But interestingly, and honestly, I hadn't made this connection literally until I was at the show last night. That last night, my wife and I were lucky enough for our anniversary. We bought the tickets back months ago with our anniversary to see John Baptiste in concert here in Cincinnati. And when I'd sent out my text of the photo of us at the concert,
bragging that that's what you were going to do.
Yeah.
To the two of us. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Troy hopped in the car, and yay for easy driving to downtown Cincinnati around here, and got to the show too. So,
yeah, it was a trip. I mean, I love John Baptiste for a number of reasons we might explore, but to see that text on a night where I was still dressed in my go out clothes, I hadn't moved to pajamas, and I see you guys, I think, texted at 7:45. I see it a little bit after 8 and go, crap, how did I not know? Because when I bought the Big Money album, when it first came out, I was looking right away. And anyways, it was really fun to live in a world where you can look on your phone and go, can I get a ticket? And it's 12 minutes away, and I drive through my tiny city to the Taft Theater and only missed, sounds like 20-30 minutes of the show. Yeah, it was great. It's a great show.
Amazing.
It was so we were going to kind of start with that, just simply because it was such a at least for me, an incredibly powerful experience. I mean, I love concerts as it is, but just the energy that was felt in that space, just I was paying attention during it of two things for me. One was just the feel in my body.
Come on.
Yeah, like literally the sound waves, and the bass is going and what you're feeling in your body. But also I was trying to be very intentional throughout it to leave my phone in my pocket. My kids had asked me to send some photos and things, so I did pull it out for a few of those. But I was like, I want to be in this
Yeah.
and really be in this experience. And because the way that John does a concert is not just him up there, playing a song, but I mean, he was all about getting us involved and joining in. And I would also say an incredible generosity with his other musicians that he had
Yeah.
up there.
Mm.
That he featured them, like I think all of them at some point in major ways. So that was my experience. It was just amazing.
So many things. Yeah, I think that musicians, this is why it'll be fun to talk about music. Like, when you get to that degree of reps and practice and practicing in being present, it's not just what's the old, I think it's Itzhak Perlman talks about, like, you can play the notes on the page, you can play the whole page, you can play the violin that's doing this, or you can play the room. And there's something about the conversation, and Baptiste seems so committed to that conversation. Did he play Petrichor before I got there? Did he?
That was his first song. That was the
Okay.
opener.
So I saw maybe a month ago, Austin City Limits, just on YouTube, saw him playing this tour or introducing this tour. And when he was doing Petrichor, he challenged the audience and he said, "Y'all, this is not a concert. This is a spiritual practice."
He said
Are
that.
you kidding me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Oh, I love
Yep.
it.
And just the
For those of us who don't know the song, what about that song makes it a spiritual, or does he just bring that to this song and he could have brought it to any song? I mean, what?
I mean, my take, that's this song is about climate change, but also about the failure of believing we're individuals. That's what that song does to me, and it's actually this invitation to be the earth. Let's step in. And there's something about ancestors and so much of his music. There's something about um, the earth itself being ready. And so what I felt like, and I felt the reverberations of that through the rest of the show. I didn't know if he had played that song or actually made that challenge, but it's just that um, concerts are that reminder that this is something participatory. We're making this experience together. I mean, it's just like I could have my notebook out, all the facilitator notes, because he's a facilitator as much as he's a performer. And that also shows like a ton of reverence. He has a reverence for something, for each of us, for his bandmates, for the tradition. Like he's so well versed in most of these Western traditions and African traditions. And so the sense that we're bringing something to bear that's not simply yourself. And also, I think he's an incredible performance artist, in that he lets himself become that shaman or that, the rock star to be projected on. He doesn't mind it. And so just puts himself totally out there. And I think that's also part of the gift of music,
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe this can kind of transition to kind of our experience of music, because that was kind of I mean, I'm sure Troy and I could just do a review of the concert the whole time here, and leave poor MaryAnn out. But um, but so this is my second time that I've seen him. I saw him in Indianapolis on his last major tour, and one of the things he does, I'll just say he's done it at both of ours. I'm assuming he does this at all of them. He goes through the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of his thing from, like when with his band, forget
The second,
Stay Human.
Yeah, Stay Human. So he does a second line. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so the concert started actually in the balcony. He came through the balcony right at the very beginning and then went down to the stage. And then at the end, they went from the stage down and then up to the balcony. And it was so much like, no, I'm in this. And it for every other concert that I've been to, it's like a big concert like this, where the artist is like, I'm on the stage, here's security, here's the rest of you. And he had security with him and so forth. But it was right in there. And it was like, I want you to be in this. I want you to feel this whole thing, and experience this. So, yeah, so I think, Troy, I don't know if you wanted to add anything further to that or if we wanted to jump in.
Let's jump in. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to talk
Okay.
about songs together. And
Yes.
I'm kind of curious y'all's answers to these, but also folks in the chat, like songs do that for us.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to add a little kind of related item to the live music piece. This is not exactly that, but my most recent experience with the power of music and community was last Saturday afternoon at the No Kings site that I went to. I live in the DC area, but didn't do the DC one. I decided to go to a street corner that's walking distance from my house, which is meaningful to just be right there in the neighborhood with other neighbors holding up signs and just having horns honking and thumbs up and a few other gestures as well, but mostly, a positive affirmation. But because these little local collections of folks at the No Kings events, there were no speakers, there wasn't a program per se. You just show up and you talk to your neighbors and you meet new people and maybe get reacquainted with old friends. But I was like, we need some music. And someone had sent me a playlist, like a No Kings inspired playlist. And so because we were walking, I was just like, I'm just throwing my Bluetooth speaker in a bag and walking up there. And so this is not an experience I usually initiate, is to be the DJ, because I have a very idiosyncratic kind of, I guess, musical taste that in some ways just kind of ended in the 1990s when I was in college, and then I started having babies and you just listen to what they're listening to. But it really changed and people were coming up to me on this little corner as we were leaving and were like, thank you for bringing the music. It just brings energy. The playlist that I had found that I don't claim any credit for just had really fun, defiant, celebratory kind of pieces in it, things you could sing along to, things that kind of fit all kind of demographics and generations. And it's not the same as music being created by a musician in a live concert, but there are some common elements to it of that we're experiencing this together. And I was very insecure about it, but then people were like, hey, can you turn it up louder? So I had my little speaker on full blast and found out later that I was singing along to I Will Survive with this woman who actually, I found out later, turned out to be my state rep, like the member of the Virginia General Assembly. And I'm like, I've bonded with Karen Keyes Gamara. That's pretty cool. So anyway, just to put a button on what you all are saying about that power of shared experience. And it can happen even in recorded kind of, it's the community piece of it that really matters to that. So,
yeah. So kind of, So kind of related to with John, the question we want to start with was Stephen Colbert does this thing that he calls the Colbert questionnaire. And one of the questions he asks is of his guests is, by the way, John used to be the music band leader on Colbert, for those who may not know. He asks, what is one song, if you can only listen to one song for the rest of your life, what would it be? Now he says you don't have to listen to it continually, but what would be, if you can only listen to one song, what would it be? So I'll kind of pass that along to, and by the way, my thing just popped up saying my internet connection is unstable. So I don't know if my connection's gone goofy or not, but just a heads up. So
I can see you.
Okay. So,
MaryAnn, you want to go first or you want me to take this? Oh, she's got some internet stuff too. I'll go here while she's getting hers there. My kind of go-to song and is Steve Earle is a singer-songwriter out of Austin, New Orleans, and the years ago, it wasn't when I didn't listen to it when it first came out. I think I got into that Texas singer-songwriter stuff in the late 90s. But an album from the early 90s, maybe 93, called Train a Comin'. There's a song in there called Goodbye. And so this album came out 2 years, 3 years after he was arrested in Mexico for possession. I'm pretty sure cocaine possession. And so he was under house arrest and really then could never go back to Mexico. You don't really get that in the song, but you get this sense of there's a line where he just said where I should have looked the line up, but it's this I can't remember if I said goodbye. There's something about like loss and going back to that place of not knowing if you'll get back to there, not knowing if you did the due diligence, because you were rushing from one thing to another. The line says something like, "Was I gone somewhere or just maybe too high? I can't remember if I said goodbye." And that you might notice this theme as we get going. Songs that kind of break something loose for me. I get out of my headspace and my heart starts sending tears through my body out into the out into the cheeks. There is something that happens there, and I probably listen to it. It probably already is the song that's always playing or is in the background to be ready to be played. I like playing it myself on guitar. Emmylou Harris did a cover of it. Anyways, that would be my take there.
What was the song?
Goodbye. It's on Train a Comin', and
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Fun fact about Substack Live: if you get a phone call while you are on Substack Live and you decline the phone call, it just blows up your audio.
Great.
We really, doing this as long as we have, we're starting to find all kinds of little quirks.
Yes,
thank you for that. So we're still doing the Colbert question, right? The one you could listen to. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you share yours, Ed, or do you want to?
Not yet.
So I was thinking about a couple angles. One is, of course, it has to be a song that you just can't get sick of, right? So what is the song that I can't listen to too many times, to your point about what you were saying about yours, Troy? But then also I started to go, if you can only listen to one song that feels like something has happened, like some kind of apocalypse, like why can you not listen to any other songs? What would lead to that circumstance? So I was like, it needs to have some kind of impact, kind of personal impact. And the song that came to me that kind of intersects both of those is the Wood song by the Indigo Girls. Mm-hmm. And it is a song about, it has some kind of Noah's Ark themes of we're going to keep going even though life is hard, I guess would be my summary of that song. But I also, it's just so, I love singing it. It has amazing harmony. So it's a participatory experience. I mean, you're talking about the tears, Troy. For me, it's just the singing along and almost as a statement of faith or as an affirmation of life. So I think both, I've never gotten sick of it, and I also have some really significant memories of that song, singing it with friends. And also, it's a good life-affirming song if the world has fallen apart to the point that I only have one Spotify play or one CD or whatever the technology is that I can only listen to one thing. So that's how I attacked that question. So what about you, Ed?
So for me, it is Where the Streets Have No Name from U2.
Nice.
I went with that just simply because for me, there's such a variance in terms of like the sound in it. So it's sort of like you get kind of a mix of, melodic, but also like that opening riff of guitar when the song starts. But I love the dreaminess of it, of this dreaming of, because kind of that same thing of like the apocalyptic, it's like, yeah, it's probably a sense that, the world's not in a good place.
Mhm.
I love just that sense of just it's open and expansive, it's big.
Mhm.
Um, and so
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's definitely it for me.
Mhm.
And it's also the
Yeah.
number 8 most played song for me in my Apple Music library. So
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Well,
I looked up my library and it totally was a mess. Like there was a season where I left my iPod at the Hive, and so other folks could play things on it. And like some of them, if they were hosts, would play the same thing over and over. I was like, I don't even know that album. Why is that the most? So no help.
what a fascinating experiment, though, to just kind of see what shows up if someone else had your device, right? I mean, it's kind
Mhm.
of a little anthropological experiment there.
Yeah.
Well, and I wondered too. I mean, in the spirit of the Colbert questionnaire, just as kind of a postscript onto this, like I assume that they mean one song by one artist. Because there are great like live versions of Where the Streets Have No Name. There are acoustic version. I mean, in many of these, maybe that could be the case. Like thinking about the versatility of a song and what makes a song great. And one of my things is if it works in multiple genres, I think that's one of the markers of a great song, that
Mhm.
it you can port it into other kinds of
Yeah.
formats and genres and things. But anyway,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, I think Troy, we were saying you were going to go second. Are you ready to pose a musical question to us?
Oh, geez. Okay. I, yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna go for this one. So the Prentice Hemphill, I don't know if you know their work around what it takes to heal somatic abolitionist. It's like just a really gifted facilitator. Has a whole, I don't know if it's like a chapter in a book or if I heard them on a podcast talk about a playlist of songs that make you cry. So we're just gonna get this. We're gonna just watch this the viewers list go down and down and down. Like, this is the last thing I need on this this o'clock
Yes.
is that. But they describe going the decision to go to a sauna or a like you can rent a jacuzzi just for self care. And so in that space, they put on this playlist, and at first it was like this is just the experience of moving tears through the body, which then Prentice describes kind of catching up to that this is like now I actually know like how to cry, like I can do this at other times.
Um,
But so I think maybe the question we could make it a optional question, or optional direction. One is like a song that you go to in order to do that, something that opens up that heart valve. Um, and if you're willing to share, like, what does it open up? Like, what's that experience like inside as as that music's coming through you?
mm,
Um,
I had one that came to me right away. So
yeah.
I'll kick us off if that's okay, unless you want to tell us,
No.
Troy, what came to your mind. A couple years ago, we were going through a really rough time with our family, especially with one of our kids and their mental health. And I have a friend whose spiritual gift is playlists. That's her love
Uh-huh.
language. And so she texted me a playlist. 'Cause I think what I said to my group of friends when this was going on is, I feel like we've pushed off the bottom of the pool. Like this is we're on our way back, but we're not quite on our way back, but that's the only place left to go is to get better. And I think the name of the playlist was On the First Day Back. But I was driving somewhere to pick up a kid, and the Casey Musgraves song "Rainbow" came on,
Yeah.
and that just, in fact, I texted my friend and I was like, "You bitch, you know, you did this to me." Sorry for the salty language, folks, but I mean that really was. I was thinking like I'm driving, um, but it was
Mhm.
such a powerful trigger, and that still remains a song that really connects me to this kid, because
Mm.
the thrust of the song is, you're coming out of this, the sky is open you're just clutching your umbrella, but there's always been a rainbow hanging over your head. And yeah, so I now have a playlist called Sad Mom Core, and it's like a bunch of songs about parents and kids and daughters, and that's on that playlist. And that's my like go-to for exactly what you're describing, Troy, the kind of, I need a catharsis and music helps me get there. So, yeah, so that was the one that came quickly to mind.
So on the subject of playlists, I have a playlist that's just called My Journey. And how many songs are in that right now? 93 songs.
So one for every year.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Right.
Thanks, Troy. But I've basically just added songs in there that have spoken to me. And so it's just it just keeps adding on and adding on. I'll go with the one that I one of the more recent ones that I added, and it's called "Dear Me" by Nicole Nordman. And it's a song that it's kind of like a song about deconstructing faith. And I'm just pulling up that basically is it's a letter. Starts off, this is a letter to the girl I used to be. And gets to the difference between you and I is that I've been given time, and in time you'll see. Things are not as simple as we said. Remember when we thought there was a handful of some magic words to pray? All the rules we made about the body and the blood and the hoops we made them jump through. And it's just this whole thing about kind of coming to a wider space of faith. And like, it just so captures a lot of what my own faith journey has been. And so when I come to that song, in that playlist, it brings me back of just really just a deep sense of gratitude of how I have changed. Because when I read the things about the rules we made about the body and the blood and the hoops that we made them jump through, and other things that are in there, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's where I totally was. And then moving to the place of, I hold all the mothers whose babies bleed from bullet holes and feel the hunger, the bellies and the bones. Shout for the prisoner, cry for justice loud and long, and march with the victims as Jesus marches on. I mean, it's just,
wow.
Yeah, it's just a stunning song. So there were several others that I could go with, but that's the one that at least for right now. Yeah.
So there's a deconstruction there, but not an abandonment.
Correct.
Ultimately of faith language or faith commitment.
Yeah.
But a return.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Ooh, love that.
There's a Jim Finley quote that I love where he's like, how do I not play the cynic? How do I not break faith with my newly awakened heart? And I think when you said deconstruction, MaryAnn, like it represents so many things for each of us at different times, but coming out of like, you guys know, but other folks may not know, like my background in evangelicalism all the way to going to Liberty for undergrad, being on campus, evangelical campus ministry, those things. When that stuff started to break down, it also felt like there was it was foggier how to get to my awakened heart, because I was just a great Gen X cynic. And that's what I'm hearing, and what you're saying, Ed, is like that ability to keep with what's awakening in you.
Yeah.
Even as you depart toxic structures.
Yeah. Amen to that.
What's your song, Troy? What's your Prentice Hemphill song?
I'm sorting them out in my head. Didn't want to commit ahead of time.
While you're doing that, I
huge...
see that some have joined us. So we're discussing what's the song that kind of breaks you open emotionally with tears, whatever the kind of however you frame that prompt. So
there we go. Yeah. So I tend to be a fan of like Tom Waits, Leonard Cohen. Like those are like you're identifying with the anti-hero a lot of times. That does a thing in me. Townes Van Zandt. But the song that actually, if you hung out with me in Cincinnati and we're on the back porch after a party and we start sharing songs, if I've had, either far enough into a cigar or enough to drink, I'm going to go to Neil Young's Natural Beauty. Mm-hmm. It's the last song on Harvest Moon. And he says something like, a natural beauty should be preserved like a monument to nature. Don't well, shoot, here, I'm going to pull up here. Don't judge yourself too harsh, my love, because someday you might find your soul in danger. Wow. And actually not in danger, but endangered, like an endangered species. So the whole thing's taking place at a concert in Central America or South America. So at the end, you get these crickets or these crazy loud frogs, and I think Linda Ronstadt and James Taylor are singing background with it. But like what slowly happens is you're starting to go like, we're losing beautiful things. So don't turn on yourself. Don't be so harsh on yourself, my love, because someday you might find yourself endangered. A natural beauty should be preserved like a monument. So there's something it does for me of like bringing me back to the present. And it's just got that era, that late Neil Young acoustic era where there's this, it's so resounding, kind of like Lenoir's work with Joshua Tree that you were talking about, Ed. Like he just plays with sound and the echo, and there's these like a cowboy whip snapping or something. Like you're like, what is that even that noise? But you're just sitting inside of that echo, and I start to feel that within me and between the folks that I'm listening to it with. And it's healing.
Yeah. So that's
especially
alive
right now, like it's like apocalyptic. It is an apocalyptic song, but it's from, I don't know, the 90s again. It's at the end of his album Harvest Moon.
Okay.
So
it's only a live version. There's not a studio version of it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Which does. Yeah, I can see how that, again, with those backing vocals and the ambient noise adds to the, which relates to when we get to my question. There's an interesting piece of that in the one that I have. Wow. Yeah. Well, those who, go ahead, Ed.
No, I was just going to say, one of the things that I got a sense from all three of our comments was also how these songs can bring us back to a specific moment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, there was another song that popped into my mind was by Amanda Opelt called Fare Thee Well. That if you're not familiar with her, she's actually Rachel Held Evans' sister. And this song, when I was leaving a church position years ago, there was a really painful leave. That song unlocked my tears for the first time with it. And it's just this deep and powerful song of saying goodbye and letting go. And I've kept it on my playlist, but I usually skip it.
Because you got stuff to do.
Yeah. But like, if I hear that song, it brings me right back to that road in my town where I live, where I heard it, and I started just weeping.
Yeah.
on the road. So
It's powerful.
yeah. So I mean that it's amazing.
I've got to
Yeah.
take you back. There's you were mentioning Indigo Girls in I think it's Rites of Passage. Uh, Maybe it's the Virginia Woo. I don't know which song it is, but I guess that's how it started. Like a pinprick to my heart.
Yes.
Comes bang, like,
Yes.
but that cling right there, I can
Yep.
remember like learning that line, riding in my friend's Honda Prelude from Lynchburg, Virginia, up to Ohio with a girlfriend, and so like somewhere and then his in the front seat was his girlfriend, and they were sisters, and basically the entire ride was either like making out or singing to that album. And so like I just remember that whole album just always, it's a great album, but it always is kind of impossible not to remember everything to that.
The song Pinprick to My Heart, that is the song Ghost, which isn't my answer to another prompt, which I have a different one teed up, but if you want to go with this one, you can, which is a song that cannot be improved upon. That is a perfect song. Ooh. I think Ghost is a perfect song.
Is that the Paper Tigers too? Words like Paper Tigers?
That's Love Will Come to You.
Okay. Sorry, I'm
yeah.
stomping all over your thing.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, that's okay. Those lyrics, they flow into one another in some really powerful ways. So this one may actually be, I'll give you a choice because my question may connect to the one we just had, because you all were talking about how these songs take us right back to a place. Because my prompt for us and for those of us who are on the call for you to ponder is a song that saved your life, or a song that changed your life, if saved is too overwrought for us cynical Gen Xers. I realize we're all Gen Xers on this, so we're going to get a certain like constrained genre of music in our recommendations. If you don't want to go with that, just go with, what do you think is a perfect song? I mean, just a song that cannot be improved upon. And I can start, or I can punt it to one of you. A song that saved your life or changed your life.
You go.
All right. I was living in Houston in the mid-90s, had graduated college, and was working as a technical writer and trainer. And a lot of our companies that we were consulting with were oil companies, because Houston. And was just feeling, I was driving back from a client site, and that was kind of my favorite time of the day, because I could just be in the car and not be doing what I was contracted to do. It was just a real time of discontent. And this is, the beginning of a call to ministry, but I didn't know at that point what it was. It was just a longing for something else. And I was listening to 90.1 KPFT, the Pacifica radio station in Houston. And they played a song by Carrie Newcomer, whom I had never heard of. And it's not a well-known song, but it is my heart song. It's called Another Thunder, and it's on a really, really early album. I think Visions and Dreams, I think, is the name of the album. And what related to Troy, you were talking about the ambient noise in the Neil Young piece. Because it's called Another Thunder, there's a little bit of like rolling thunder kind of sampled into the song. Do you know this song, Ed? Because I know you are a Carrie
kind of a fanboy. Yeah. I know it, not as well though. So, yeah.
A couple of the lines that I remember are, wonder it's something bigger than yourself, something larger than we know that's calling. And then there's another part of, I don't want to see it pass over. I just like to see it pour. So like not trying to avoid the rain, but just standing in it and letting that rain fall. And one of the things I wanted to ask you all in this prompt of a song that changed your life or saved your life is it one of those things like that happened at the right time? Like I was ready to hear that song, and it had this immediate impact in a temporal way. Whereas if I'd heard it 5 years earlier, it would have just rolled off, or even 5 years after. The other little button on that is that this was kind of in the spring of maybe 1996. And after the song was over, like they said that was Another Thunder by Carrie Newcomer. So the whole time I'm driving home, I'm like, Carrie Newcomer, because I got to look up this and go buy the album, because we did that back then. And I later found that she was going to be playing at the Kerrville Folk Festival like 2 months later, the same weekend that my church was going to be in the Kerrville, the hill country area for our annual retreat. And I was like, I get it. Thank you, God. It's just like, so it was one of those just convergence moments. And, she has been providing the soundtrack of my life ever since. But Another Thunder was the one that just, it was like, I've got to get out of this. This is killing my soul to be doing the work that I'm doing. And that was probably an early nudge by the Spirit into ministry. So,
wow.
Yeah. What do y'all got?
It's a great story. I don't have a good story yet. I'm still scanning.
So
beautiful.
That is gorgeous. Yeah. Wow. Mine ties with call to ministry, but more of coming to the end of my 3 years in seminary. And so I was down to my last 2 possible positions that couldn't have been in 2 more different places. One was Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and the other was a church on the Gulf Coast of Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I just was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know, because one of them had already offered me the position. The other one might still been doing that. And I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And I was just completely angst-ridden about this. And my then girlfriend, now wife, Amy, came down to my dorm room, and I was like just rattling on about all this stuff. And she said, I'm going to play you a song. And so again, she pulled out a CD and played the song called Hold It Up to the Light by David Wilcox.
Oh, that did a thing for me. I remember that.
Yeah. And it's, the whole song is just, I think he wrote it about maybe like proposing to his fiance, maybe, I think is at least what I hear in the lyrics. But I mean, the whole thing is like, you've got this huge decision, hold it up to the light. And it, that like totally settled me down and gave kind of this space for Amy and me to kind of process through this of which one, and eventually ended up choosing the church in Sioux Falls. And to some of my seminary classmates going, you chose South Dakota over Florida, but yeah, like that song, it did totally change the trajectory for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
And thinking about these 2 stories and juxtaposing them, like one came unbidden from the Spirit and the other was someone that knew you well and really cared about you and was like, you need to hear this. I mean, it's just fun to think about the different ways that this guidance, which is what that song's about, of guidance and yeah. And also, I mean, I may be extrapolating, like I'm thinking about that song because he also has on his live album kind of some narrative that precedes the song where he talks about all the little decisions that get you where you are, where you have to make the big decision and how those are also important. And I almost think from it that it's like, it's not that it doesn't matter what you choose, but you just have to choose. I don't know. That's my read on the song, but I don't know if that's just my own gloss, but I love that. I love that story and I love that song.
Yeah.
All right, Troy.
I'm just it's fun to remember Dave Wilcox. That's wild.
Yeah.
I've got a quiver. I could probably write a short story of like Dave Wilcox stories, little encounters over those years. His commitment to his inner life and the way that it shows up through art without he was such a great, I guess, is such a great example of showing without telling. And I remember coming to Cincinnati for when I was still doing the singer-songwriter thing more, and there was a festival here, and I was staying next door to Rich Hurdinsky's space where he was recording an album. And so afterwards, and Pete, who was one of the engineers, lived there. So I was connected there. And he came, he came over afterwards, and we had just a night of just talking and exchanging songs, which was like maybe the coolest thing I could say. I didn't think about it till you mentioned Dave Wilcox, but a generous spirit. But then I gave him a ride home to the airport like the next day, and we were talking about music, and I was talking about Wilco, and I remember now him being able to kind of slice through like my Gen X experience, and and uh, and he was just asking me about what felt jaded, and it wouldn't let me squirm around it. It's almost like tell me what you love kind of thing. Like he really wanted to. It was a great gift. That's wild to remember that. That's great. You know, it's interesting. I don't know that I know what I'm going to go with is kind of yeah, it's actually when I was really young. So uh, in the church I grew up in, there was a record store that was part of the church. This was kind of PTL era, those kind of when churches were kind of that way, and the it was called the Word Room, and so you could go there and get the Word, you know, whatever. And but then there were all the CCM records, contemporary Christian music records, and then there was also a place where you could buy demos, which were the ones that were sent to the records to the store for folks to demo, but you'd always get the alternative, like things that they didn't like that were in like the $2 bucket, right? But I loved like the dumpster diving CCM music, like because it was a different kind of stuff. And there was a cassette tape there by Leslie Phillips, who later changed her name. That was a change name. Later took back the name Sam Phillips. She was married to T-Bone Burdette for a while. Is a really great singer-songwriter. But this album, there's a song in there, The Turning, and that's what popped into my mind. Was I remember just being wired, like having earbuds and like paying extra to go to Radio Shack and get the earbuds that would wind up into the little thing, putting those in. And my family would, as like a way to get extra money, we helped somebody that had a printing shop collate their the stuff, the magazines or whatever that they were printing, or the booklets. So I think this was like some national etymology group. So we were folding together things about bugs and whatever, and we're just walking in circles around the table. And I'm the oldest and don't want to talk to any of my siblings anyway, so I just have that in, and I'm playing that over and over. And the reason it comes to mind is I think it was pretty radicalizing. It was giving me a critique of Christendom and Christianity and society. She talked about suffering in ways that we didn't talk about in the best-selling demo records that were promoted. You know, and I think that gave like a part of these young parts of me the chance to express grief and doubt. And yeah, it's just wild that clicked right into my mind.
Yes.
I think it did change a lot for me.
Wow. Well, and I want to in a minute we'll go back and review our answers to the 3 questions, because we had some people join us partway through. But I want to, like, mine came to me just accidentally on the radio, and Ed's was offered as a gift from a loved one, and yours was almost, Troy, like, I love that they, like, we don't promote this stuff, but we'll make a couple bucks off of it. There's just something
like
funny
snuck
about
in
that.
from the Matrix. Like somebody else came in and went, "Future Troy's going to thank me for this."
Exactly, right? So maybe it's kind of shares some DNA with my story, where it's just like the universe offered this to you, but it also, I feel like this, it's almost like the stone that was rejected, right? I mean, the kind of idea of like, this is, you know, it's just in the bargain bin and maybe we'll make a buck or two off of it, but it was exactly, there's something subversive about that, having found it in that venue that you found it in. I love that. Man, that's great. Oh, we could talk about music all day. But let's bring the plane in for a landing. And we had 3 questions after talking about the power of live music and shared music. The first question was from the Colbert Questionnaire, which is the song, if you could only listen to one song, what would it be? So everybody just share yours real quick. Mine was The Wood Song by the Indigo Girls. Ed?
Where the Streets Have No Name by U2.
Troy?
Say Goodbye by Steve Earle.
All right. And then the next one was the song that unlocks emotion, tears, helps bring about that catharsis. Ed, what was yours?
Dear Me by Nicole Nordman.
And Troy?
Mine was Natural Beauty by Neil Young.
And mine was Rainbow by Casey Musgraves. And then the song that saved or changed your life. Troy, what was yours?
The Turning by Leslie Phillips.
On a little
I don't even
cassette.
know if you're going to be able to find it on Spotify. That's great.
I've been putting stuff into my Safari, and I do see 1987, and then it was re-released in 1997 as Sam Phillips. Anyway, Mine is Another Thunder by Carrie Newcomer. Ed?
And Hold It Up to the Light by David Wilcox.
Yay, that's great. Well, thank you all for joining us. We will put this, we'll share the replay of this. Quick? Oh, of course.
Since we've got, at least by my clock, we got 4 more minutes before 2.
You make the most of it.
One other question that was in our chat that I thought.
Oh, good. Honorable mention. Let's go.
Yes, honorable mentions. This is lightning round. The last song that you shared with somebody.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead. You got it?
Mine was Take On Me by a-ha. Because there was that podcast that came out last week about
Song Exploder
and finding the acoustic version of that. So it was the acoustic version of Take On Me that I shared most recently.
That's right.
I think I shared that with you.
Yes.
As well as with several others. Yeah.
That's great. Troy, what comes to your mind?
It was funny. That was my question, but I don't know my answer. Hold on a sec. I'm going to just look it up in my...
All right. I'll share mine because mine is Invisible by U2. There is no them, there's only us, which is the refrain of that. And if you're going to look it up, I love the live version from A Sort of Homecoming, which is the documentary that they did with David Letterman. Because, why not?
Why not? Wow.
And that they have a live version in this concert space, but then the last bit of it is they're singing in an Irish pub together, and it just makes you want to drop everything and move to Dublin. Because they got their Guinness and they're all singing together. There is no them, there's only us. And I can't remember who I shared that with, but I share that one a lot and listen to it a lot. So, all right, that's Troy.
Awesome. It's so funny that this was the one that we were texting about, and that was my question. And I for some reason, I can't remember why I thought of that question, who I shared with. But I've shared a ton of the new Bon Iver album, and that song "Ring Within Rings Within Rings." I think it's maybe the last song, "Things Within Things." There's just something in there, and I've shared that with a couple friends. It's like a way of settling into what's within. Felt like that really clicked to me. That whole album does something pretty interesting.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's great. Thank you for the bonus. Yes. If you all haven't check out these writers on Substack, Ed at Imago Scriptura, Troy Bronsink, writing just on your own, under your own name.
Troy Bronsink.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm at the Blue Room. And this replay will be available afterward. I'll have it at my space. I don't know whether you can, this is your first live, Troy. It'll show up in your drafts folder, and you can edit it. You can add your own show notes. You can do whatever you want with it.
Oh,
it's good
cool.
stuff.
All right.
So
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for letting
anyway,
me have my first live with y'all.
yeah,
Well,
it was
that's
so
good.
much fun to
That's
connect
great.
with you all.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
sayonara to everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Yep.
And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
See y'all.
Good to
Bye-bye.
be with y'all.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys. Bye-bye.